live from the interweb. Market Vitals, the levels you need to triage the market. Triaging everywhere, Matt. HFR, Bob Heffernan. Mistrade, Matt Davio. It's the greatest fucking trading show on the planet. That's all there is to it.
It's the only one worth your time.
Hey, Matt, you know, on the pregame here, I had a question, and we're going to get to it right off the bat. And I actually wish, well, soundstage, we didn't want to go to the soundstage. We wanted to go here. And here's my question. This was the pot roast from yesterday inside the Manja test kitchen. Look at all those pepperoncinis. And my question, Matt, is how many of them motherfuckers got, I mean, there was 30 of them in the pot. I only see 5 or 6. Oh, look at that too, right there. That one for sure demolished. How many pepperoncinis did you eat before you did anything else?
Oh, I probably ate like 6 of them. They were like butter grease cheenies. So they were so good.
They're unbelievable. In fact, I think we could start a food truck. That's all we sell.
Just sell those. I mean,
just the pepperoncini.
I mean, I'm just saying, we just came up with an idea for the pepperoncini people. Soak them in pot roast and butter, and
for
you get
6 hours,
and then put them in a jar.
Because unreal
with the sauce that was cooked, jar it and sell it. Because
let's go over it one more time. The recipe. For, you know, it's the time of year, dude. Football season is upon. I mean, the cold football season, the cold tailgates.
Yeah.
It's just a pot roast, a stick of butter, onions, pepperoncinis, a little au jus powder, a little Manja shrimp mojo, low and slow, 6 hours. Everybody got it? Ready? Break. All right.
Look, you know, and again, I might have, you know, the only thing I would have added probably is a little garlic, you know, throw a clove of garlic in there too. It would have been,
and then you're right too, Matt, because the beautiful thing about this pot roast now, pot roast sliders, pot roast tacos, traditional pot roast with carrots, mashed potatoes, and gravy. So versatile.
Right.
And every one of them lip smacking fucking good.
Right. It was good. And, you know, I just made some roasted potatoes and some broccolini with it. It was perfect. It was a great meal. I've got enough for, you know, I could have fed my army of, you know, 3 large men for sure too. But if they were here, but all
right, man, let's talk a little sports. And this by far in the last couple of days, the greatest thing I've seen. This was shared from Will Zalatoris. We're giant fans of Will's game. Plays occasionally here in Central Oregon. And this was him revisiting his first hole-in-one. Now, why did it do that? It swung us right back to the Twittersphere. Working on it. Definitely working on it. My computer's running slow today, Matthew. And
it's that Bill Gates machine you got again.
You know, well, Epstein's dead. All right. So it's not my fault. Epstein's dead. Anyway, man, he's showing here. That's his club that he used when he was 8 years old. And there he is as an 8-year-old. Let's swing it forward. And there it is.
Wow. There it is. He pumps it in again with
it took a few attempts.
Well, you know how hard it is. You know how hard it is to swing those like graphite clubs too, especially when they're like miniature.
Yeah, look at him. He's squatting.
Yeah. I know. He's such a tall dude, and he's playing with the 7-year-old.
You know, look at that.
He's so good, man.
Bong.
That's why we had him at the Masters last year. He was right there, second place.
All right, man. It's the giving time of year. A lot of people are going to be giving Christmas gifts around golf. Let's look at a few of the golf names. Maybe Nike, Callaway. We got to talk price discovery because we are a trading show. In fact,
you know, I think it was a year ago when we talked about Callaway golf. So let's do it again. Bob. And this stock is pretty sine wavy is all I would say. And the thing about it is it's in balance. I don't love it. Like I told you, before we came on the show, it's worth $5.5 billion. Golf is a dying sport just because people don't have the time and they don't have the resources to play 100 times a year. Like I used to play 100 times a year, but that was when the course wasn't busy and I could rip 18 holes in 2.5 hours. Now that this town's grown, like I'm a snob. I need my own personal course, and I'm not not at that level. So I prefer to play tennis and get my exercise on with my 2 hours that I have to kill.
So Callaway imbalance, nothing to
Imbalance, but
double Gallagher, move along.
Well, yeah, double Gallagher, and I think I'd look for a buy at 16 versus 25. I think it looks like it's heading there versus back to the old highs. Nike, as always, I know my kids are asking for a ton of Nike gear, wear stuff, $100 shorts. There's a reason why they make
lemon for men. Nike.
There's a reason why they make money. Well, it's not just for men, but I don't like their shoes, and I know your fat feet don't like the shoes, so I don't wear their product really too much. I'm not skinny enough to wear their clothes. So,
hey man, it's Thursday. We do body shaming on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. All right.
All-time high was recently. We had that run from 145 to 180, and earnings coming up here on Nike. What is the date on that?
21st of December.
So right into the Christmas season.
20th.
Expecting 63 cents, making estimate on the quarterly revenue 11 and a quarter. Again, that's 45 million. I'll just do the math for you. 45 million a year in revs, and trading at a $270 million market cap. So absolutely 6x the sales get you to the market cap, which for retail is insane. But that's where we are. And then Under Armour, just to look at that, and then we'll look at Lulu too. We haven't looked at it in a while, but Under Armour, like the little brother of Nike. And again, it's had a good year. It's definitely had a good year. It's been green. Again, a little heavy for me at this point. I'd probably be a seller going where the economy is going. The last, again, kind of, as long as that 17 holds, it's bullish, but I'm not chasing it. Remember, 2020, this thing was down to $6-7. So this thing is a zero at some point, because again, you're just selling textile goods, and there's really, that brand's not going to take over Nike for sure. And then Lulu, Lulu has pulled back down another $6 today. Recently just traded to an all-time high of 485. I mean, for God's sake, 54 billion is and again, I think we are having earnings today at the close. So 1.4 billion a quarter, which again gets you just shy of what is that, 6.5 billion. And this is about 10x. So Lulu is much crazier valuation than Nike. So if you want to, own Nike and sell, at least you get probably a little bit of a dividend with Nike. I would imagine they're not paying much, but they should be, but they don't give back to the shareholders. They just give to Phil Knight and Oregon. They donate to Oregon
and dog shit sporting facilities
and and so they can talk about how great their sporting facilities are, even though Ohio State, Bama, Notre Dame, and Michigan have had them for 40 years, but they think that's a big deal for recruiting.
All right, man. It'll be
but then their coach leaves. So go figure. Why is the coach leaving? Because it's Eugene. Same story.
I got one final thing to say about golf.
Yeah.
And that is, golf is way better if you can fit an 850-pound brownie in your golf cart. World's largest pot brownie, 850 pounds, and it's for sale. I got to tell you, that would be one exciting golf outing.
Maybe they should just, cut up 850 pounds and deliver them to the, the different TPC courses over the country and see if that helps the game. Like pick up some.
We for sure could have the high tour, right?
Right.
Like, listen, it's the high tour. You either have to do a bong hit every 3 holes or eat an edible. I don't know. We could come up with a way to make sure that everybody's dosing at the same way. Naturally only. Don't panic. It's organic. All right, Matt, let me get back. And in fact, I'm going to jump right back to the share. because I wanted to share a couple of threads. And the first one is from Ben Hunt, and I got to share it. We've had him on the show, and he really is a jab enthusiast. And he's talking about South Africa and the Omicron job being as equally, as many people are being hospitalized, I think is the thread, not nearly as many people suffering ICU or death from the Omicron job. But again, it's just more talk about, it's fear-based as far as I'm concerned. It's not the flu, right? People are still going to the hospital. And my question to him, and Ben, I'll ask you directly, is did you take your vitamin D today? Do you have a nasal rinse device in your house in case you enjoy people in a poorly ventilated setting, like I tend to like to do? Do you get good sleep? Are you eating a bounty from your pesticide-free garden? I know you have one. I know you love to garden, and I know you love it to be pesticide-free. Do you have healthy, loving connections in your life? Or did you just get jab number 4? Because let's remember, at the beginning, it was just 1 dose, J&J, 2 doses, the rest. Now we're to 4 doses, Matt. And
because the first three didn't work, so let's go 4.
My problem with it is still those things that I mentioned are nowhere in the narrative. The narrative is, how about Fauci's latest? You should check the vaccine status of people coming to your Christmas party. Are you fucking kidding me? Hey, Uncle Bill, can I see your punch card? Because if you don't have the 4th jab on it, you got to eat in a gazebo. All right. And
we don't have a gazebo, but
and you can open the present outside the picture window, right? And Uncle Bill's like, it's fucking 10 degrees out. That's all right. You can freeze to death. That's fine. Anyway, Matt, and let me share one more. And that one is, hold on, let me get back to it. I'm firing back and forth. And it was from our, you're a big fan, Nicholas Taleb, big fan. And he's talking about the COVID pass, like there's psychopaths around COVIDs and vaccines, right? And it's saying that the majority shouldn't coerce the minority. And he's pointing out that you're missing it, that I said in a pandemic where the risks don't scale properly, it shouldn't be that way. And then he goes on to say that in Hayek's work, the government is the tail risk manager. And for wars and epidemics, they should be in charge and be able to tell you what to do. And I agree with that. But then I said, so please give credence to the fact that mismanagement of said tail risks give outside negative outcomes. At least let's fucking talk about that. That when they get it wrong, since they're managing the tail risk, when they get it wrong, that outside negative outcome is giant. And let's just think about a war, for example. Like, yeah, we're in charge of the war, but if we get it wrong, we get fucking everybody dies and we get our country taken over, right?
Or think about the FOMC. Think of how mismanaged that is, and it's not even a governmental.
I mean, let's talk about the risk of them fucking it up. Yeah, okay, fine, it's their job. But what's the risk when they fuck it up? Right. I don't know. You tell me, because we got, geopolitically, Matt, right now, for sure, we have these risks out there. And let me just bring up the geopolitics here. This from Natasha. The POTUS is scheduled to speak to the president of Zelensky of Ukraine, and he will speak with the Bucharest Nine. That sounds like something from a novel, right? Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, Republic.
It's making me hungry is what it's making me.
Estonia, I'm very hungry. Lithuania and Slovakia. Again, man, tail risk. Yeah, you're in charge of the War Department. You are our commander in chief, but it's a giant tail risk when you get it wrong.
Well, and obviously he's talking to those countries because they border, and used to be many of them, most of them, all of them at some point were part of or
the USSR.
Correct. So, all this saber rattling, why is it going on right now? Probably, if I'm going to give a simple reaction to what you're talking about, it's because of mismanagement. Everybody's pissed at the mismanagement of all this bump kiss COVID. They're over it, including Russia. Like, they're done. Like, they're trying to get on to the next thing, whether it's climate, whether it's whatever, we've tried climate 70 times in the Gorleone years and it's failed. And matter of fact, we've got more ice in the Antarctica than we have had in 20 years, but nobody's talking about that anymore.
Nobody's talking about the 15 ships that are going to currently spend the winter in the Arctic.
Yeah,
Whoops.
They're stuck.
Whoops. And all right, man, let's talk about maybe
by the way, nobody's talking about Klaus and all the WEC fucks were all up in Antarctica last week. What was going on up there? Why are they there?
I don't know.
No, but they were there.
First of all, we got rollover week, so the indices are chopping around. I will say this, that Longplex shared some daily work of his that is showing maybe an explosive either rally or reversal, like shit's going to happen here. I noticed too that especially on the 610, we've talked long about how disjointed these markets are, meaning the Dow, the Russell compared to the S&P and the NASDAQ. But on the shorter term charts now, they're pretty in sync right now. And we're going to talk music later, in sync. But anyway.
Well, it's interesting. Let me just throw this out there because I kind of agree with it. I mean, we're chopping. It's the season. We've got, basically 2 weeks from tomorrow until Christmas. Christmas is on, New Year's or Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are on Fridays, which is nice because I like having the holidays on weekends because then you have a little bit better. At least you got a couple days of decent trade kind of Monday, Tuesday before the Friday, right? But it's only a couple days. So we're down to 6-7 trading days left in the year, right? I don't care about, once you get to the 20th, it's over. Unless somebody lobs a missile, which obviously has the potential to do a lot to the market. And I think that's what you can see right now is that we're just kind of limping into the end of the year. This is the NASDAQ. And outside of that little wiggle we had, from Thanksgiving when the Omicron narratives were kickstarted. And now, they seem to be in control today magically, but we're just right back to the price we were when we were in control. Now we broke the trend line. However, we could go up and still test the trend line up near 17.5 and we'd still be below the trend line. This is what is hard for people to understand about trend line analysis. So we could still go higher here and be below the trend line. So why is that interesting? Because that actually plays out. So, if we're in a 1,200 point range, which we have been since we broke, the next 1,200 points will come above or below in theory, right? So if you're just looking at the near term, as you said, a little bit longer term, but the month chart is basically this 1,200 points. And if we were to get above that 16.7 again, then look for 18,000. If we were to get below 15.5, well, then we're going to go back and test the low from where we started, which is about 14.2. So that's a real easy way to look at it because we're right in the middle of it. Other than that, we're flipping coins and you're either selling up against that top or you're buying down against the bottom. But, just looking at that analysis on the real short term, that's kind of what I see when you're looking at the NASDAQ. We did hold at the 50%, which was the old high too, so this is still fairly bullish, especially, they couldn't take it down. They couldn't go below that 50% retrace. So everything is still bullish when it comes to the NASDAQ, S&P. So yeah, why not? And again, why not the end of the year? Why wouldn't we, see another, reason to give the Biden administration, the market's looking great. It's at the high of the year, at the end of the year, the whole narrative piece that they're trying to backwardation fit, because we know, and you've got some charts here. We know that inflation and these things they're gonna start impeding on the reality of things at some point.
Right. I know the first one that you shared in the network was China Evergrande Group, the Chinese developer whose liquidity crisis has shaken the nation's credit markets, has defaulted for the first time on dollar-denominated debt. It's important. Like, who gives a fuck if they lose one-on-one? I could kill you in one-on-one. I'm an excellent basketball player.
Yeah.
But the other one is this one, and let me get my fat head. I thought body shaming was not today. I guess I'm wrong. This shared by Holger Holger, not Hodler, Holger, real earnings yield for the S&P 500 index hasn't been so deep into negative territory since 1947. Let's talk cycles. And this pretends downside risk for stocks, according to Bank of America. There have been only 4 historical instances of negative real earnings yield, all of which resulted in bear markets. Matt, I am so fucking sick of bringing up things like this that don't seem to have any merit.
Hey, listen, you know, again, to be a value investor right now, and I know a lot of these guys, like, it's horrible because they don't short, they're not good at shorting, which if they were, like, you should be a value shorter too. If you're a value buyer, you should be able to sell high, but they're really not good at it. So the problem with the value guys right now is there's nothing of value. I mean, you can't even go to commodities anymore. Everything's inflated. So under inflation, everything gets inflated. And it does start to, you know, deteriorate the actual earnings because it's all fake to begin with, right? So it's a problem. And at some point, but again, where we are in the calendar this time of year, unless missiles start falling from the sky or satellites get shot down, you know, or there are, you know, something besides saber rattling, I don't see this changing through the end of the year. So that being said, you know, we're at the 10th tomorrow and we've got a little bit of time left in the year. We've only got 21 days. And again, of those trading days, you know, you basically have, you know, probably less than 6, 7 that are going to be worth anything. So don't overthink this into the end of the
time of year.
You just can't. And then even that first part of the year with New Year's Eve being on a Friday. So you got New Year's Eve, the first is on Saturday, second is Sunday. And most people are either getting Friday and or Monday off. Count that first week, throw it away. Again, come back around the 10th. And guess what? The 10th is the national championship game. So nobody's doing anything until after that.
Yeah, because Michigan's going to win it.
That's right.
We're going to be there. Cannot wait to see it. All right, Lee's starting a GoFundMe. I lost track, Lee. What are we starting a GoFundMe for? Let me pitch it here to the.
I mean, I think we should definitely do a GoFundMe so you can pay for my kids and I to go to the national championship game. Thanks, Lee.
Matt's GoFundMe. Anyway, Matt. Yeah, it's rollover. It's chop and broccoli and the equities.
Here's the, you know, just show the chart on Evergrande. I do have it here. It's, you know, you can look at, there's a couple variations of it that trade on the, you know, in the Hong Kong exchange. This is 333 and there's 6666. There's 4 3s and 4 6s. And this thing is down pretty much at its all-time low, $1.80. You know, when I started trading this, it was just getting into the 3s, and now it's already down to $1.80. So it's on its way to zero. And the 666 again was higher priced when we were first started talking about this. I think it was $6, $7, $8. Now it's down to $3.50. So they're up today. They're both up considerably, 4.5%, 3.5%. But it's like what, you know, it's like watching WorldCom go to zero. It will go to zero. So it's just a matter of time. I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't touch it, even with Lee's money.
Lee wants to GoFundMe for that 850-pound item of deliciousness, the pot brownie. And I've been making them for a decade, and I have never attempted an 850-pound brownie.
That's why I said it to you. I think you got a goal to shoot for the 2022.
Man, have I been underperforming in the brownie department?
I mean, the marketing alone that you could have got from that 800-pound brownie, that's all we needed. Speaking of psilocybin.
Speaking of mushrooms. All right, Matt, here's to being a COVID-opath, Nicholas Taleb. Nicholas, please, I'd love to hear a response to that mismanagement of tail risk that it is the government's job to manage. And whether you think, here's my other question, is at what point do you say, all right, enough is enough? Because for some people, it was the first mandatory shot. For some people, I've talked to a lot of people that got the first 2 jabs. They're like, I'm not getting the third. I've talked to another number of people that got the booster and said, that's it, I'm not getting a fourth. Because at some point, everybody has to make up their own mind, and it's a free country. Do whatever the fuck you want. But are you willing? The more you cry wolf, and the more ineffective it is, the more people are disinterested in whatever you're saying. I mean, we're already past that point.
because it clearly hasn't worked. Why, if you were on the fence forever, you're never taking a shot now. Like it's busted. Like the whole model's fucked. Just think about it. Like there's no way you're going to convince. Again, to me, there's probably 50% of the people that haven't even taken it. So I don't even believe the numbers that they're saying. And so whatever. And again, just think about. I just ask to think about how impossible it is to vaccinate the numbers that they're talking about. There was no capacity to build this shit. You couldn't make 7 billion Coca-Colas in 6 months if you chose to, let alone jabs. You can't. Like, it doesn't happen. It's ridiculous.
All right, Matt. Listen, we have opinions.
And then you have to get them in your arm and my arm. I mean, you got to. How many people would you need to be doing that? You would need internment camps. Oh, wait, they're starting to do those in Australia. Wake up. Wake up. Bitcoin, by the way, speaking of waking up.
Yeah, how about the rollover going on there?
Again, I was looking for 53. We got to 52. Sorry. But as I said yesterday, if I was more aggressive, I would have just sold it. 52 back to 48. So now do we have to test 42? Maybe. We saw it. This will be tested again. It's just a matter of time. So be careful, Cameron. Be careful, Tyler, because we're going lower. But they don't care.
All right, Matt. I think that's a wrap. I gotta go. I gotta end the show. God damn it. End it right now.
By the way, did you watch The Facts of Life, Different Strokes?
Fuck no.
It was hilarious. I actually enjoyed it.
Slow down. Facts of Life, Different Strokes. Come on.
Maybe it was
I watched MASH, Matt.
Maybe it was the 850-pound brownie, but it was funny.
We have a live studio audience here, and there was a question: wasn't Different Strokes a porno?
I don't know. Might have been, but Different Strokes. They had Snoop was in it. Speaking of 850-pound brownies, he stole the show. He was great. You had Kevin Hart. I gotta
go.
You had Kevin Hart. You had Kevin Hart.
End the stream. End it.
You had Kevin Hart. You had John Lithgow.
I am your father. We'll talk to you.